Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Accessibility Corner for July the 23rd, Saturday. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. We are broadcasting both on Facebook and YouTube. Today's guest is Mr. Tom Handy from the uh, El Paso Veterans Business Association. Our co-host, Dr. Miguel Juarez, is feeling under the weather. Hope he's okay. We'll have him next time. Our next show will be August the 6th with Tom. Tom and Tom. Tom Lane from the El Paso, the Arc of El Paso. So first of all, everyone, thank you for tuning in, Mr. Handy. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. And could you just give people a little quick background on yourself, sir?
Thank you, George. I originally grew up in Philadelphia, and then went to college. I joined the Army after that. I did 20 years in the Army. The Army brought me here, of course. Finished the last 3-4 years at Fort Bliss. And then sometime around when I was getting out, I found the VBA and joined more as a member, and then took over, I think, about 3 years ago. And so just trying to help out as best I can with with this nonprofit.
And so was it like a singular reason why you started the association? I mean, was it because I know when the veterans, when I guess when servicemen and women leave the military, do they provide these type of services, like to transition into civilian life, so to speak, regarding management of finances and whatnot?
No, it's very very little on that, because really when you're in the Army, that when you do your job, that's what the 90% of what you're doing is focused on. When you're transitioning out, they'll give you like a week of class, like a transition class, and then there'll be some other class you got to take online, or you'll talk to a counselor, but they don't really give you a whole lot on what you're gonna do when you get out of the Army. I think they've changed that a little bit now. They might have you work with other companies in the area, but when I got out, they didn't have that available.
So for here in El Paso, I wonder, do you know how many veterans? I know it's a lot, but I'm saying, have you had a guesstimate of how many veterans are here in El Paso?
No, that's always been a hard number to
Yeah,
to,
no.
to figure out, because I think a lot of veterans when they get out, they don't let anybody know that sometimes. Even there's a lot of businesses in town, and they might be a veteran, but no one will really know because they don't really publicize that too often. So,
Exactly. No, you're right. You're right. Right. So when it comes to the Veterans Business Association, what's the mission statement or what's the focus for that association?
really, it's like a three part mission. We have a business resource center, pretty much helping veterans and their families, giving them any mentorship if they want to start a business, or if they need assistance, maybe a connection here in town. We kind of point them in the right direction to help them get started, or give them some tips on what they need to get started if they want to start a business. Second one, we try to work on hiring a vet. Even though the military may give you some tips or direction to find a job, sometimes we have our own like contacts here in town as well. Might share resources we come across, and then direct them. Hey, we heard about this job; it might be available to you, or you go to this hiring affair that's coming up. And then the last one, we do like a Task Force Victor. Task Force Victor is more of helping people or veterans when they get out. Sometimes there's like a little gap. They might happen to have a little tough times. Everybody, it happens to everybody, but sometimes they might have a tough time. They might lose their job. They might get a divorce, lost their house or something. And so we help those people out, because a lot of nonprofits don't really have anything set up. So we kind of help them give them a little push along the way, maybe some cash as well. They might need a hotel for a night, or a rental car
Oh,
for a
wow.
day or two.
Okay.
And then sometimes we'll even direct them to that nonprofit to help them get settled, get their life back together again. So
Now, because of course with me was dealing with people with disabilities. Do you see a lack of services here in El Paso when it comes to veterans? Like, for example, uh, housing or even like transportation with Sun Metro. Do you see a big gap in that or not?
I wouldn't say a big gap, but I think it's there. And then I think I think there's so many, there's several veterans groups here in town. And then there's also the city has their housing authority as well. And
Hmm.
there's like a gap on identifying who's really homeless here. And I think that's really like because I've noticed that a couple of years ago, and it's really hard for them to. I think the city doesn't have a good handle on who's really part of that not that unemployed group here
Okay.
in town, or homeless group. So it's I think it's getting slowly getting better. I know the city's trying to make that change, like within the chamber and everything, but it's a slow progress, slow process. So it doesn't happen overnight. So it just we're going to go little by little every day, trying to help fix the issues here in town.
So let me ask you, Mr. Handy. I mean, first of all, I should have said this at the beginning. Thank you for your service. I apologize. I should have
Oh,
said that in the
no
beginning
problem. Thank
because,
you.
and that's one thing I just feel that when someone volunteers to serve, especially you for 20 years, and when you leave the service, to have those skills. I mean, mind you, you have the military skills and whatnot, but when it comes to interacting in the civilian life, what do you see as the biggest barrier for veterans? Well, like here in El Paso, what do you see? The good and the negative, of course, but what do you see when it comes to the veteran transitioning to the civilian life?
Well, I think for a veteran getting out, I think we've done however long they may have done. We come with like a lot of skill set and a lot of knowledge, and some of them may have led a group of people, but sometimes making that transition in the civilian sector, it's there's like a gap somewhere within there. Because when we move into the civilian employment, they want you to have a lot of background and years doing different types of
Okay,
um, like a skill set in something. But even though we do that in the military, it doesn't always easily translate from one to one. Um,
true.
I think the military is trying to fix that over the last couple of years, but just a big gap, and it's a different language barrier as well, because a lot of terms we may use in the military doesn't always correlate the same in the civilian sector. So it just
True, true, true.
so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like talking a different language sometimes with them.
No, I hear you. No, I hear you. Yeah, that's right. So when it comes to the the Veterans Business Association, what if a veteran wants to start his own business? I know there's specific funding available for that, right?
There are some, yes. We it's not it's like anyone who's starting a business. We can help point you in the right direction. A lot of banks won't give anybody starting a business money right off the bat. So there's a lot of other smaller uh, financial sectors or financial groups that'll help out a veteran who wants to start up a business, like Lift Fund and some others here in town. So
No, is a membership for the association is it free or is there like a pay to to participate or how does that work?
it's we have like three different tiers. It's free for if you're a nonprofit. If you're a veteran, we just charge you $25 a year. But if you're a civilian who wants to come over and support us or join the group, it's just $50 a year.
Oh, a
Um,
veteran. I mean, a civilian. Oh, I know that.
yeah,
Okay.
we're open to
Oh,
everybody, so we
oh,
don't
okay.
don't
Cool. I know
discriminate.
that. And so when it comes to like, I know you have monthly meetings. What is the main focus of those discussions? Like to help the veterans or come up with resources?
Um, we meet every third Saturday of the month at Timo's Restaurant on 2000 Montana Avenue, and we try to find a speaker who's going to come present, preferably talking about something about business. But sometimes we'll have a nonprofit come in as well, just talk about what they're doing and what services they provide here to the city. But overall, I try to have like someone involved with business or maybe marketing or something in legal or something that something in that group can come out with and take away and help them out in their own business as well. So
True, true, true. So I know because there is a big difference between, let's say, starting a marketing business and starting a restaurant, right? I mean,
yes.
they're not the same language, like you said. But when it comes to the Veterans Business Association, do you, as a nonprofit, do you get funding from the government, or how does that work?
No, we don't get any funding at all. We
So fundraising is a lot, huh? Okay.
just rely on fundraising and whatever we're getting from memberships. We're trying to apply for grants, but I think it's going to be somewhere. Hopefully later this year, we'll start applying for some grants that are available.
Do you have any upcoming fundraisers right now, Mr. Handy?
No, we did a fundraiser back in May for a golf tournament, but nothing's coming up in the next couple months. Nothing at
How did that
all.
go?
We were kind of worried because it was our first one, and none of us are really golfers. But like here in El Paso, everyone shows up on the day of, and that's really how it turned out. So
I have a quick story on that, Mr. Handy, and for those who are watching. When it comes to golf, many, many moons ago, when I could still see a little bit, but my glasses were kind of thick. And so friends of mine asked when I was at the post office, they're like, hey, one of the managers said, hey, come with us to go golf. I'm like, well, I don't know if I'll be able to see the ball, but I'll try. Why not? So I'm sitting there and they're all talking, and a guy walks up to me and goes, hey, what's your handicap? And I'm like, my handicap? I'm visually impaired? Everybody starts laughing. Like, no, handicap means your strokes. Yeah. I didn't know. I thought he was asking me what my handicap was, but we're not supposed to use the word handicap anyways, people. But anyways, I thought that was a funny story. But anywho, so Mr. Handy, what can you give out in regards to the word to the community? What would help you and the association progress? In other words, is it more funding? Is it more fundraising? More speakers? How would that? Because I think your association is important, especially for a veteran who wants to start a business, because it might be scary, starting your first business and not having all those resources behind you, but you provide those, of course. But what can you encourage to those veterans that are watching to come into just to, I guess, look at the association and see what they think?
Well, I think like anything, I think just be willing to come out more than once or twice. Because I think if you really want to, anyone starting a business is really about building up your team, building up your contacts, because it's not going to be an overnight process. And I know just from the few business owners that have come in, or a few busy people that want to start a business, and there's always so much more that they don't know or that they're aware of, and it's just not they won't figure it all out in one sitting. So it's just encourage them to keep coming, keep talking to anybody in the group, because it's like a good network of people. And then I might not be able to answer them in one area, but someone else in the group may be able to point them out to someone else in town who could help them out and then push them further ahead, reaching their goal to further their business. So
True. Because people don't realize that starting the business is not that easy, because there's requirements you have to meet, or license you might have to get, or permits, or liability insurance, and then you have to go into payroll. How you going to process that? So it's a daunting task, and many moons I was in that myself, so I kind of understand that. And then being a veteran, I think, in my opinion, this is my opinion, folks, we should support veterans specifically because, like I said, they volunteer their time to serve, and now they want to be part of the community in the business. And like here in El Paso, Mr. Henry, what do you see? Is there a big population of veterans, business owners, or not?
I think it's a good number here in El Paso. I think they're all different sectors that I've come across. Some are in solar, some are in the cleaning business,
Okay.
some are in the locksmith business. So just a whole lot of different areas in town. And a lot of people may not even realize it, but they're here in town doing, working the small business here, helping out the city or the different areas that might need help or assistance.
Now, do you think the city? Well, I shouldn't say that way. Does the city, within itself, do they have resources so veterans could tap into? Because I know there's like you said, there's different other resources like Project or Amistad, and they're called Amistad. So there's different agencies out there that help. But does the city have anything specifically for veterans regarding possibly how can I say that, not grants per se, but opportunities? If that makes sense.
Yeah, the city's trying to work on that. I think there might be some funding coming down the line. So I think we've met with some people in the city lately. They're just trying to really help figure out how to market that or how to put that out to the public. So I think there's still a lot of research the city itself is doing right now, seeing how they can tap into the veteran the veteran population here for businesses. So
Now, is there a little, now in my research? I'm not sure if I was looking at the right place, but do you have a center on Dyer or not, or something on Dyer? I'm
no,
probably thinking of the workforce. That's what I was probably thinking of. Then never mind. I'm
yeah,
probably thinking of the
probably is there.
workforce.
Probably the workforce commission. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so let me ask you, now if you don't know, I don't want to put you on the spot, but have you seen people or veterans with disabilities being business owners?
Yeah, because a lot of people may have a lot of veterans may have a disability, but you may not actually see their disability because sometimes they might have some mental issues or some little disability inside or might be their hearing or something in their leg or something minor. But there's a lot of veterans when they get out, usually they have some type of disability. And
You know, there's a reason why I asked you that, Mr. Handy, because people don't realize that it's just, oh, you served 20 years, or you served 10 years, or you served 4 years. But they have to understand that some of these individual servicemen and women, they saw war, they saw combat, or being away from the parent or their family, or just the stress of being in the country that you don't know that the U.S. is not a favorable, like if they say Iraq or Afghanistan. And that does a lot. That does a lot to the service person to come back. Like you said, the mental aspect where they look normal, quote unquote, but they have some type of mental diagnosis, which really impacts their lives. It really does.
Yeah.
And that's why I want people to understand that, veterans, it's not, I come out, I'm great. Not necessarily, It just doesn't. So, in closing, Mr. Handy, what's the takeaway from this conversation regarding for bringing people into the Veterans Association or the Business Association to improve the lives of veterans?
Well, I just encourage anyone to come check it out. And you don't have to be a veteran either. Just come check it out. One of the meetings, or come talk to us, and then just see what we're about. And I know Saturday is always a tough day for people to come out, but sometimes we might be available during the week as well, because we'll just make time to meet you on your schedule sometimes, and just to sit down and talk and see how we can help you out, and vice versa. So I'll probably attend one of these meetings as long as you have donuts. Okay, I'll try to make it out. So, how can someone contact you or contact the association, Mr. Andy? Okay, we have a website, email, and phone number. So the website is VBA. ElPasoVBA.org. ElPasoVBA.org, and then there's also just the email is the same thing. ElPasoVBA@yahoo.com or ElPasoVBA@gmail.com. We have both emails available. And then just my cell, because we used to have a dedicated number at the chamber, but since the chamber moved, we have to now use our own personal phone. So
okay.
So my cell is just 915-996-1076. So and I'm on Facebook as well. So you can also connect me on Facebook or Twitter or anywhere, because I'm trying to stay active on social media as well. So it's.
Oh, you're on Twitter also?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And so I forgot to ask you about the association. How long has it been in existence, by the way? I forgot to ask you that question.
Since 2006, I think a group of veterans just came together, sat down, and said, "Hey, let's start the Veterans VBA." And then just over the years, it just had a lot of transition.
Wow.
Some transition along the way with people coming and going, but it's just been. I think Bill Sparks has been part of that the whole time, and I took over for him a couple of years ago. So he's still around, and just still a man of wealth of knowledge. So.
Oh yeah. And he does some awesome posts too. His writing skills are awesome. So, folks, those who didn't get all the information regarding Mr. Handy's contact information, excuse me, I'm going to put them on our website, www.theaccessibilitycorner.com. Excuse me, my allergies. And if you want to be part of the show to showcase your nonprofit or group, you can always reach out to us at info@theaccessibilitycorner.com. That's info@theaccessibilitycorner.com. And Mr. Handy, I do appreciate, first of all, like I said, number one, more importantly, thank you for your service and taking the time to come out and talk to hopefully new potential members, and if not veterans, so they can know the resources, because it's just, for me, I've seen it so many times that someone in the community didn't know about a simple resource. And it's like, really? I didn't know that? And I'm like, yeah, that's why it's so important that we do this show, the Accessibility Corner, with me and Mr. Juarez, or Dr. Juarez, but he's under the weather. Hopefully he's okay. But we're going to have our next show, August the 6th, with the Arc of El Paso, which is also another Tom Lane. But Mr. Handy, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. Any parting words, sir?
No, I really appreciate this, George. And I thank everybody for watching, whether you're watching it live or watching a recording later on. Just always come out, contact us, and just let us know how we can help you in any way possible, a veteran or non-veteran. So.
Yes, sir. Well, I forgot to ask you, what time on Saturdays do you have the meetings at?
Just from 9 to 10 a.m.
Oh, it's a short one. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. It's not too early or too late. It's nice, right in the middle. All right, folks. Well, we'll see everyone next Saturday, or 2 Saturdays from now, August the 6th, with the Arc of El Paso. Mr. Tom Handy from the El Paso Veterans Business Association was with us today. Mr. Handy, I salute you. Thank you for your services, and be careful. And everyone, we'll see you next time. And bye-bye.
Thank you.